it's Bella, and today I'd like to speak to you about the new moon on the 23rd of November 2022 at 1 degree of Sagittarius. Now, this lunation is set to take place in the Anuradha nakshatra, dictating the heavens, which is basically symbolized by an archway, and it is connected to kindness and devotion, to balance, harmony, as well as honor. So it's very much a blend of Jupiterian and Venusian qualities. It's very positive for communications of all kinds and also for lasting connections and friendships. It also helps with sharp focus, improving our intuition. It's also wonderful for organization, for figuring out difficult situations, as well as issues regarding numbers. So if you're dealing with a lot of numbers at the moment, this could be a wonderful new moon for you as well. It's great for cooperation and collaboration as well. Now, the symbol for this nakshatra is the lotus flower, and it puts an emphasis on the persistence that and the ability that the blossom has to blossom in the middle of a dirty pond. Now, this time of year, we are to learn and experience as much as we can from others, places, and activities that we do not usually take part in. We gain wisdom and understanding and receive inspiration this way, and can likely more easily yearn for adventure and open roads. Comfort calls us also, and sometimes we have to travel without leaving the house by picking up a book or reading the Word of God. This new moon is a new beginning, a new seed of intention, a dream, a goal, a mission, or hope towards a more meaningful future, towards more freedom and more joy-filled fullness. So if you look at your chart to see where Sagittarius falls, this will be the area where this seed is germinating for you. And this is also an area that you might have been working with for the last 2 years, or at least for the last 18 months or so, when we also had the eclipses in the last year, before they started this year in Taurus and Scorpio. They were in Gemini and Sagittarius. So Sagittarius was an area of great change for you. And this is an area now that is being highlighted for a new hope in this area. Jupiter, the ruler of this moon, also is now stationary to turn direct and very, very powerful. And Jupiter is also now conjunct Neptune in Pisces, very, very powerful. And again, putting our attention to keeping our eye on the prize. That even though we have had many setbacks and much to deal with at this time, is also much to deal with in our minds at this time, we are to keep trusting that the opening will come for us to move forward, and that for now we must do what we can with what we have and let everything unfold, but spread our wings and spread our wisdom from what we have learned in our deep dive in Scorpio, so that we can now ask ourselves, where is it that we want to expand to? How do we want to expand? How do we want to experiment? How do we want to experience certain aspects of our lives from here on out? Which direction do we want to take? Which connections do we want to make? And these are the things that are coming more into our vision at this time, whilst keeping our eye on the main goal that we are still moving towards and will be more realistically moving into in the coming year. In general, this lunation brings our emotions to the surface. We may need to confront our feelings in some way. Feeling alive is a drive now, and for some this can cause turbulence. But look also at the Cancer house in your chart. Any issues connected with it can come up now as well, as family and your unconscious mental and emotional connections and patterns can show up at this time. The moon has a talkative nature, and communication is a big theme. So you may want to initiate conversations about the future, but also be cautious whenever you are around other people to not be too all-knowing or self-involved. Pay attention to other people's points of view so that you also don't miss anything valuable. But there is still a search, a deeper need in the area of Sagittarius for you. And this has been a theme, like I said, for the past 2 years or so. So it definitely plays a big role in the forward movement that Jupiter will also be initiating for us now with the direct motion. Let's take a look at the aspect configurations with this moon. We have a very strong fire energy, mutable energy. Again, letting us know that this is a time for staying as flexible as we can. With Mercury fresh out of bounds, conjuncting Venus, the Sun, and the Moon, all conjunct in a stellium of Sagittarius. We also have these planets opposing Mars, out of bounds and retrograde in Gemini, squaring Neptune, very powerful at 22 degrees, and also trining Saturn. And then we have the Sun and the Moon trine Jupiter and Neptune, and also sextiling Pluto. Jupiter conjuncts Neptune and sextiles Pluto, and Saturn and the Uranus square is slowly moving apart. Now, some of the lower vibrations of this moon could be that we could find we're a bit more moody and emotional amidst optimism also, but a bit more moody or even small-minded at times. There's more possibility of absorbing and attracting other people's energy around you or their moods. So choose wisely who and how you are spending your time. There can also be distractions and frivolous spending habits that can want to take over, as well as trivial conversations. Anything or anyone that could have you looking away when you should be paying attention is something you need to watch out for at this time. There is overindulgence that can play a role on all levels, whether it's spending, eating, drinking, escapism. So be more cautious and rather wait with large purchases at this time, unless it's something that you've been, saving up for a long time. You've been planning it for a long time. But if it's something out of the blue, try and wait. Allergies and infections can also be a lot more common at this time. Beware of vanity, as this will backfire in the coming months. Stay humble and kind and in gratitude. Our focus right now should not only be on the now, but on the bigger picture. Physical beauty only lasts so long. So also make sure that we're working on our inner beauty that will travel dimensions eventually and also carry you much further, much more securely. Some of us can experience feelings of hopelessness, even doubt at times, but there is support through other aspects that strengthen and push us through now. So don't give up. You may have some demoralizing encounters or some moments where you feel disappointed. But this is a time to really take a look at our lives honestly and support each other as much as we can while we are pushing through at this time. On a more positive note, the higher vibrations of this moon is there's a huge possibility of growth in consciousness right now through an experience that involves a spiritual nature, nature itself, art, love, travel, or the act of giving and even receiving. There can be a deep urge to go another way, or to choose a freer path, or to just get away for a bit. You may feel much more optimistic under the circumstances that you are dealing with, because like I've said, there will be some disappointments for some, and you have more resilience to weather emotional storms. There's an intuitive awareness now that's stronger than usual, and this is a great energy to be able to stand back and look at your life as a whole. There is a warmth and a genuine care for others at this time, and we're more aware of the fragility of life. Meeting someone new that may be a bit more experienced or wiser, or maybe from a very different place than you, or that's uniquely beautiful, or maybe speaks a different language or lives far away, could be a possibility at this time. For some, if other transits support, there could be new love, or for those in stable bonds already, there can be a more harmonious and exciting warmth that abounds. It's great energy for deepening our understanding with one another. But all in all, it's good for fun activities, for decorating your home or cozying it up a bit. It can stir a desire to learn more and acquire more knowledge, or you may just find it easier to learn at this time and to just sort of absorb and integrate lessons. We can become much more aware of the different parts that make up the whole. Group activities and meetings and conferences can go much better at this time, as well as the fact that we will be much more sensitive to other people's needs. The mind and heart are working together more harmoniously. It's a great time to do something out of the ordinary, even something simple like just eating at a new restaurant, or trying to make a dish you never made before, or watching a documentary on a topic you've been interested in and just don't know much about, but you've always wanted to. Reading a new book, or taking the dog for a walk on a different path. Watching a travel show. There's many ways that we can expand our minds. It's a great time to gather information if you have to make a decision on an issue, but to not make the decision yet. In general, a more favorable energy for financial transactions if you're cautious and sure it is necessary and not frivolous, but avoid gambling, as you will not be sure about anything and the results could be disastrous. There is good support now for solving or finishing up an issue that you have been struggling with, maybe an opportunity that allows for a positive resolve. Most will be able to endure and see through difficult experience now. There's great support for detailed and concentrative work, such as math. Also very positive for work with stones or metals. Our compassion for others are much more on a higher level, but we must also guard against being taken for a ride. So be aware. The material world can become more meaningless as we're reaching inward and upward for spiritual fulfillment. And we're becoming more aware of the value in those that support us. We are counting on our blessings, and we are counting our blessings. Meditating and quiet contemplation, self-reflection, and time in prayer is highly recommended. Our dreams can also be very meaningful at this time. Now, collectively, we could expect possibly new religious news, decrees, laws, international news, court cases, or our eye on the law in some way, poor conditions worldwide with more supply chain issues, energy and transportation affected issues, especially with Mars out of bounds and retrograde in Gemini. We have a possible increase in oil prices again with Jupiter, where it is going direct now. We have possibilities for more accidents, drowning, flooding, loss of children, escapism at a high, drug overdoses, mass manipulation and deception, distraction from truth, internet and all other types of scams, betrayal, revolutionary energy. Governments could have opportunities to gain more power, but if used selfishly, it will be to their disadvantage. Only the highest ideals should be pursued with any gain in power, collectively for all, not just governments, but overall, we are all transformed. The world around us is being transformed, and there is a regeneration taking place, a higher spiritual awareness, and a higher plane of existence and vibration. I would like to read to you 22 degrees of Pisces, the Sabian symbol where Neptune is sitting. A prophet carrying tablets of the new law is walking down the slopes of Mount Sinai. Keynote here: the need to bring down to the level of everyday existence the clear realizations made manifest in a great peak experience. The symbol obviously refers to Moses after he received from the God of his people the basic principles upon which a new religion, and even more, a new ritual of living, should be founded. This basic law has to be brought down. It represents a descent of formative and structuring power, a divine revelation. This type of revealed knowledge contrasts with the kind of knowing born out of the experience of touch, of feeling, of warmth, of contact. This second stage symbol is a process to which a religious God given character has been attributed in the past, but which today is being investigated at the personal and psychological level. The important point here is, what do you do after you have a peak experience, an inner revelation? The key word mandate is appropriate, but the basic problem is how to fulfill it in the right spirit. I'd also like to read to you the inside degrees for 22 Pisces. A blacksmith creating an ornate garden gate. Hard substance is impossibly tough if you fall into letting it be that, but is the perfect basis if you are willing to make it so. All the resistances, crystallizations, dysfunction, and foundational dissonances are great excuses to stop or immense occasions to start. You get laid low if you do not know what to do with the stuff of this world. But if you have learned the subtle craft of world making, you're best off meeting up against the hardest places and discovering how to turn them completely around. The exceedingly demanding guild of those who dig into the depths and draw forth beauty and infinite power from the brutal and heavy realities which otherwise seem impenetrable. A stubbornly hard-working, impossible to discourage craft of reworking the primal soil. Most unproductively, mostly learning how forever, paying your dues, never quite getting it right, until there comes a day when even the obdurate bends to the inner design, when the conviction is complete. The sensitive organs at this time is the liver, the thigh bones, the tailbone, the hip muscles, the sacrum, the lumbar vertebra, the lumbar muscles, the hip joints, as well as the mind, as well as our digestive systems and our lymphatic systems. This is not medical advice, so please consult your physician. Surgical operations are not recommended during a new or a full moon. May the sun shine bright on you this day. May there be blessings coming your way. And remember that each soul coming into our lives, each moment, each person connecting to us in some way or another has a purpose. Nothing is meaningless. And if we keep an open mind, realizing that we are students and that learning never ends. Until next time, bye-bye.